December 14th, 1944. Dear Hank, it's impossible not to think of home when it snows. The sound of laughter, mixed with memories of kith and kin, blows over my mind like a mighty wind when December's flakes appear. While reflections breeze brings with it faces and forms of the sweet folks of Bedford, Virginia, the face most vivid among them is yours. There is not a memory wafting over this scene, nor a corner of Bedford for that matter, untouched by your unique brew of adventure and mischief. I can still smell Mrs. Jensen's hot apple pies cooling on the windowsill, and the scolding we got when she caught us trying to sneak a taste. As I recall, it was your quick thinking and smart compliment of Mrs. Jensen's culinary ability that got us out of hot water that day, and even got us a cookie for the road. You were always the charmer. I still hear the squeak of the front right tire of the go-kart we built from junk salvaged from behind the grocers. It never won us any races, but was the primary contributor to our childhood bruises and scars from its many crashes. I'll never forget the cheers of the crowd when you hit the season-ending home run, and the hours you spent working at Old Man Henry's to repay the window repair your home run cost you. The long walks along the abandoned tracks leading to the fishing hole were the corridor of secrets, dreams, and plans of two chums, as thick as thieves. A guy is lucky to have a pal like you, Hank. Another memory, equally as vivid, is from the day of my enlistment. I remember learning of Pearl Harbor and listening together to President Roosevelt describe a date which will live in infamy. I recall our impassioned discussion over coffee in Joe's Diner, as we concluded we could not allow America's enemies to threaten the liberties of her citizens. After tearful goodbyes to our families, we walked together to the recruitment office. As long as I live, I won't be able to shake the confusion and emptiness I felt when I learned you weren't planning to enlist. I reckon it was sadness in knowing our daily encounters would come to an end, and the adventure of all adventures would not be shared. But it's the reason you gave that still rings in my ears and throbs in my heart. You said you lacked courage. There aren't many things in which I'd be considered an expert. Yet, over the past few years, I feel I've learned a thing or two about courage. My understanding of the term has been formed and shaped by what I've seen on the battlefield. Courage, as children seem to understand it, is a quality of bravery that faces danger without fear, boldly advancing without thought of retreat. History is full of those who define it as such, and expertly demonstrate its polished ideal. Yet, courage, as I have seen it, courage in the trenches, is not one devoid of fear. Rather, it's characterized by it. It's not a peaceful calm in battle. Rather, it's your heart beating more loudly than 100 drums as you hide only a few feet from where the enemy stands. It's not forward advance without the thought of retreat. Rather, it's forward advance with the constant whisper of retreat growling so loudly in your ears to be deafening. It's not standing with a puffed out chest and guts and glory, the tough guy of the world. Rather, it's feeling small and alone, while you're haunted by the what-ifs, if-onlys, and how-comes of life like 1,000 voices all speaking at once. Courage is my former bunkmate, the small kid from Kentucky who struggled to make 10 push-ups, was plagued with hay fever, and who jumped at every time someone dropped a fork. He cried himself to sleep every night in his bunk. Though he tried to stifle it with his pillow, we still heard. The truth is, we were trying to stifle our own sobs. When our unit got pinned down under enemy fire, he was the first to jump up, quaking in fear, and run supplies to us. He paid the ultimate price on his third trip. The first night his bunk lay empty, I realized I had known a man of great courage. You see, Hank, courage is not a quality that stands by itself. Courage is supported by a much stronger quality: love. As we learned all those years ago in Miss Halliard's Sunday school class, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. I suspect it was the same kind of courage that Christ had on the cross, a courage supported by love. Christ himself cried in the garden the night before, but it was love that was victorious the next day. Without love, courage withers and floats away on the breeze. Hank, do not doubt your courage because of your fear. Rather, love deeply, and there find courage by your side in full supply. Signed, Corporal Jackson Taylor, your pal.